Hi, this is Wendy Mazzordi, APS Webmaster. In this session, we are going to cover the APS Quick Identification Service available at www.stamps.org. Once you are at the APS website, you should log in the upper right-hand corner. Logging in will allow you to access APS services, shop, pay your dues, and many other things. So it's a good habit to get into to log in as soon as you visit the site. And of course, if you haven't established your account yet, you can do so by simply hitting on New Sign Up here in the right-hand corner and completing some information. It'll take you just a few minutes. But since I have an account established, I'm going to log in by putting in my email and my password. And clicking on Login. Of course, I know now that I'm logged in because it will welcome me. It'll show me my APS membership number, and it'll now allow me to access the My APS area and my wish list and a few other things. For this review, we're going to scroll over the Services tab and select Stamp Identification Service. This service can help identify that troubling stamp at a low cost. Both members and non-members can submit items. However, members do receive a discounted rate. As you can see here on the page, the Quick ID fees, it is $5 per scanned item for an APS member, $10 per scanned item for a non-member. So maybe you own a stamp that you have some questions about, or you're planning to buy a stamp off the internet, but you're not sure it is properly identified. Quick ID can help you. However, I do want to point out that this service is not a guarantee of authenticity as offered by our expertising service. You'll see that also explained here on the page. It tells you the difference between Quick ID and the expertising service. This service is a quick opinion of what we believe you have based on the image provided. But if during the Quick ID process we feel there are questions about the authenticity of an item or feel that you may really have something, we will recommend you submit the piece to our APS expertising service. I also want to let you know there are instances where maybe we cannot identify the item, and in those cases we will provide a refund. Okay, so let's get started. For collectors who have scanning capabilities, the process is very easy. But for you non-scanners, don't get discouraged. I'll explain in just a minute how you can also submit an item. Items to be identified need to be scanned as GIF or JPEG image files. And our scanning tips are here in step 1. As you can see, it'll give you some scanning ideas for the image quality at 200 dpi. Make sure you save it in a location that you will remember where it is, and just a few other things that you can review. Once you have your item scanned and saved, you are ready to submit the item, so you can go on to step 2. But at this point, I want to take a moment to also tell you that you can easily submit items from the internet, such as eBay. Let's say you have an item on eBay that you would like to have identified before you purchase it. You can simply pull the item up on eBay, which we're going to go over here to eBay. I have it called up, and I have a stamp called up I'm interested in. Once you have the stamp on the screen, you can simply right-click it. You can save picture as, and you want to save it to a directory where you will remember it. I'm going to save it in my pictures directory, of course, and you give it a name that you'll remember. We're going to call this Scott 251 and simply hit save. Now you can go back over to the Quick ID screen and scroll down to step 2. Now you can simply hit on Submit Items, and you will be at the Quick Identification Upload screen, where it's just going to walk you through some things. Here you're going to upload your image by simply browsing, and then you're going to select the directory where you just saved your image to. Either you scanned it or if you saved it from eBay. I saved it to my Pictures folder. Here's my Scott 251, so I'll select it, click on Open. As you can see now in this Upload Image field, it has the path of my image. I'm going to go down and put a title in and fill out the rest of the information. So we're just going to title it whatever you want, stamp Scott 251. And we do ask for a date, time, phone number. We ask for this just in case we do have a question about the item. We may call you. Okay, and then you submit the question, any question you have about that particular stamp. And at this point in time, you can add to cart. You will now note on the screen that a message will appear advising you that it takes up to 4 days to receive an answer, and answers are provided via email. At this point, you will also see that you can view your shopping cart to check out, or you can add another Quick ID. So if you have several items you're going to submit during a session, you can add another one by simply hitting the button, and then it'll walk you through uploading an image again, putting in your stamp title, your daytime phone, and the question again, and you can keep adding items there. But for this session, we're going to go ahead and check out. So we're going to view our shopping cart. Takes us over to the shopping cart area. You can see on the screen, here's my Quick ID item 251, my $5 fee. We're going to go ahead and check out. I'm going to continue, so we don't have any coupons. And for this session, instead of putting credit card information in, I'm going to use a gift card that I have for myself. As you can see on the screen, your order review is up here, your Quick ID of $5, your payment is there, and as always, you need to agree to the APS terms and conditions of sale, and you can process your order. Your on-screen receipt will now appear, letting you know that the order has been processed. You can print this out, or you will also receive an email confirmation. It's that easy. Now, for you folks who do not have a scanner, you can submit a good quality color photocopy of your item. You can get copies at a local copy shop like Kinko's or whatever may be in your area. Once you have a copy, you can visit our website and go to the Quick ID service. Of course, so we're going to go back to the services stamp identification just so we can review for you non-scanners. Once you're on the stamp identification page, you will see here that it shows you if you do not have access to a scanner, you can click here. Right here it is on the page. It'll take you to the Quick ID Submit Stamps by Mail, and it'll explain it a little bit. It'll give you the address where you're going to send it to, and again, it'll review with you that you can submit the good quality color copies, and it provides you with a Quick ID submission form. If you click on that, it'll open a PDF form that you can print off. It'll ask you some basic questions, your contact information, your Quick ID submission, if it's a $5 fee or a $10 fee, and of course the payment information, as you will need to submit payment when you send it in through the mail. I also want to take a moment to point out that once you submit an item, you can watch the status of it in the My APS area and actually see the results as they are posted. Of course, if you're logged in, you can go up to My APS. You can you look across the tabs here, you can see My Quick IDs. Once you're on the Quick ID screen, it'll show you your submissions. Of course, you see the submission that I just submitted today, the date completed. Of course, it shows incomplete, the findings are incomplete. Within a few business days, if you come back in here and check it out, you may see the results here. The findings will be here. Of course, you'll also receive those via email. So that's pretty much it for the Quick ID service. And if you have any questions, I want to point out that on the Quick ID page, it does have Mercer Bristow's contact information right here at the top. As you can see, it has Mercer's the phone number and his extension. Or we also have online question forms. So if you click on Mercer's name, it'll bring up a form where you can ask a question by putting in a subject and a question. So again, if you have any questions about the service before you go through the process of submitting an item, you can ask Mercer some questions. That's pretty much it. So thank you for taking time to watch this video.